Caleb Harris stood in his doorway at 4:48 in the afternoon with a $500 million check folded inside his jacket. His wife Naomi was already in the living room with divorce papers in her hand, like she had been waiting for the exact second his key turned. Caleb did not knock, he did not need to. This was his home, or at least it had been his home until the last few months turned every room into a place where he felt like he had to earn oxygen. He stepped inside and the first thing he noticed was the silence, not peaceful silence. A staged silence. The kind you feel when furniture has been moved and decisions have already been made. Naomi stood with her hands on her hips, her curls falling over her shoulders, her face set in that look she had been practicing lately, a look that said disappointed without saying the word. By the wall were two suitcases, one large, one small, both upright, both zipped, a purse perched on top like punctuation. On the coffee table there was a manila folder, a pen placed neatly beside it, everything arranged with the confidence of someone who believed the ending belonged to them. Caleb's throat tightened, his fingers brushed the edge of the check through his jacket, the paper felt thick. Real heavy in a way his whole life had never felt. "You are early," Naomi said, her tone flat like she was irritated. "He came home before her plan was finished." Caleb swallowed and forced his voice steady. "I have something to tell you," he said, "something big." Naomi's eyes flicked to his work shirt, to the faint dust on his sleeves, to the boots he had not yet taken off. She did not smile, she did not ask, she just nodded once like she had heard excuses 1,000 times. "I need you to sign something first," she said. Then she reached for the folder as if it was a remote control and she was about to turn off his life. Caleb took a step forward. "Naomi, what is going on?" he asked. "Why are there suitcases?" Naomi sighed the way people sigh when they feel superior to emotions. "I cannot do this anymore," she said. "I cannot keep living like we are one bad week away from losing everything." Caleb blinked. "We are not losing everything," he said. "Not anymore, that is what I am trying to tell you." Naomi laughed softly, a short sound, not joy, a warning. "You always say not anymore," she replied. "Then rent comes, then the car needs repairs, then your job cuts hours, then you look at me like I am supposed to be proud of struggle." Caleb felt heat rise behind his eyes. He kept his hands at his sides, kept his shoulders relaxed. He was not going to beg, not today. Naomi pushed the folder toward him. "Divorce papers," she said. "All you have to do is sign. We can be adults, we can end this without drama." Caleb stared at the words on the first page, dissolution of marriage, his name typed neatly, her name typed neatly, their life reduced to lines and boxes and signatures. His stomach turned. "Naomi," he said quietly, "we have been together 11 years, married for 7, you are doing this now." Naomi's jaw tightened. "Now is exactly when I should do it," she said, "before I waste another year waiting for you to become the man you promised you would be." Caleb felt that sting, the familiar sting, because she had been using that line for months. Every argument ended with a version of the same message: "You are behind, you are failing, you are embarrassing me." He reached into his pocket and pulled out his phone, not to call anyone, just to anchor himself, to keep his hands from shaking. Naomi watched him with impatience. "Do not start recording me like I am the villain," she snapped. "You made me this way, living like this made me this way." Caleb set the phone down on the entry table. "I am not recording you," he said. "I am trying to understand when you stopped seeing me as your husband." Naomi's eyes narrowed. "When I realized love does not pay bills," she said. "When I realized your dreams are always 1 year away and my life is passing me like traffic while you keep telling me to be patient." Caleb nodded slowly. "I hear you," he said. "I have heard you every day, every night, even when you think I am asleep." Naomi flinched as if he had stepped into a hidden room. "What does that mean?" she asked. Caleb looked past her for a moment. The framed wedding photo on the shelf showed two people smiling wide. Naomi's hand on his chest. Caleb's arm around her waist. Both of them believing struggle was temporary. Both of them believing love was strong enough to outlast money. Caleb turned back. "It means I know you have been talking to someone," he said. Naomi's lips parted. Then she recovered quickly. "So what if I have?" she said. "At least he has a plan. At least he knows where he is going. At least he does not come home smelling like exhaustion and apology." Caleb felt his pulse in his ears. "Who is he?" he asked. Naomi hesitated for half a second. Then lifted her chin. His name is Carter, she said. Carter Winslow. And he treats me like I matter. Caleb repeated the name silently. Carter Winslow. The kind of name Naomi would say slowly because it sounded like money. You are leaving tonight? Caleb said. Not a question. A statement. Naomi nodded. Yes. She said. I already arranged everything. I am moving in with him for now. Until I figure out the next step. Caleb stared at the suitcases again. He remembered how they used to pack together for small trips. A weekend at a cheap beach motel. A cousin's wedding. A road trip with sandwiches to save money. Now she packed like she was escaping a fire. Caleb took a breath. Naomi. I came home early because I had news. He said. Life-changing news. Naomi rolled her eyes. If you say promotion. She started. Caleb shook his head. Not promotion. He said. Something else. Naomi's expression shifted slightly. A flicker of curiosity she tried to hide. Then she hardened again. It does not matter. She said. Sign the papers. Caleb picked up the pen. Not because he was ready. Because he wanted to see how far she would go without asking why his voice sounded different today. He flipped through the pages slowly. No spousal support. No claims. No shared assets. Naomi had written the divorce as if she was divorcing a man with empty pockets. You really believe I have nothing? Caleb said. Naomi shrugged. You have debt. She said. And dreams. I am not taking those with me. Caleb nodded once. Fair. He could feel the check like a heartbeat in his jacket. He could pull it out right now. He could drop it on the table and watch her world invert. He could do that. He had earned that moment. But something stopped him. Not mercy. Not weakness. Clarity. Because if he revealed it now, he would never know if Naomi cared about him. Or only about what the paper could buy. And he already suspected the answer. But he wanted certainty. The kind that leaves no room for regret later. Caleb signed the first page. His signature smooth. Steady. Naomi watched with relief rising behind her eyes like sunrise. There you go. She said quietly. Finally. Caleb kept signing. Page after page. Each line a goodbye. Naomi leaned against the wall and exhaled as if a weight had lifted. She started scrolling on her phone, probably texting Carter the good news. Caleb noticed her smile return as she typed. A smile she had not given him in months. When he finished, he slid the folder back toward her. Done. He said. Naomi's eyes widened. You did not even fight. She said. Almost suspicious. Almost disappointed she would not get drama to justify her decision. Caleb looked at her calmly. I fought for us for years. He said. Just not loudly. You do not hear quiet effort until it is gone. Naomi scoffed. Spare me. She said. I gave you my best years. Caleb nodded. And I gave you mine. He replied. Naomi picked up the folder and checked the signatures quickly. Then she snapped it closed and held it to her chest like a trophy. Good. She said. I will file this first thing tomorrow. Caleb stepped out of his boots slowly. Placed them neatly by the door. His movements measured like he was trying to keep his heart from spilling. Naomi glanced toward the kitchen. I will be gone in an hour. She said. I just need to finish packing. Then Carter is picking me up. Caleb repeated the name again in his head. Carter Winslow. picking her up. Like she was a package he was receiving. Caleb walked to the living room window and stared outside. A neighbor's dog barked. A child rode a bike. Normal life continued like nothing was collapsing in his house. Naomi moved around behind him folding clothes. Zipping pockets. Making calls in a low voice. Caleb heard her say baby once. He heard her laugh lightly. He heard her sound younger with Carter than she sounded with him. His chest tightened. He pressed his palm to the window glass. Cold grounding him. Then he made a decision. He walked to the bedroom closet. Pulled out a small lockbox. The one he kept under old shoes. Naomi never paid attention to it because it did not look valuable. Inside was the check in a sealed envelope. The one the representatives insisted he keep secured. The one that had been handed to him across a polished table with congratulations and warnings. Caleb opened the envelope and stared at the numbers again. 500 million. He whispered it without sound. He slid the check back into the envelope and put it in the inside pocket of his jacket. Then he returned to the living room. Naomi was on the phone now. Yes. She said. He signed. No, he did not argue. It was easier than I expected. Caleb stood there listening. Not interrupting. Because every word was building a wall he would never climb again. Naomi ended the call and turned. Her eyes met his. She did not look guilty. She looked efficient. What are you doing now? She asked. Where will you go? Caleb smiled faintly. I have somewhere to be. He said. Naomi lifted an eyebrow. Somewhere. She repeated. With who? Caleb shook his head. Alone. He said. But not for long. Naomi rolled her eyes again. Whatever that means. Caleb reached into his jacket slowly. Naomi's eyes tracked the movement automatically. Her curiosity waking again. He pulled out the sealed envelope but did not open it. He held it like a secret between them. Naomi frowned. What is that? She asked. Caleb looked her straight in the face. It is the reason I came home early. He said. It is the reason today was supposed to be the happiest day of our lives. Naomi's mouth opened slightly. Then she scoffed. If that is another bill. She started. Caleb stepped closer and placed the envelope on the coffee table. Not opened. Not displayed. Just placed. Like an unopened door. Naomi stared at it. Her fingers twitching as if she wanted to grab it. Caleb's voice stayed calm. Before you touch that. He said. I want you to answer one question honestly. Naomi narrowed her eyes. What question? She asked. Caleb swallowed. If this envelope contains nothing. If it changes nothing. Would you still be leaving tonight? Naomi hesitated. Just a beat. But that beat said everything. Her eyes hardened. Yes. She said. Because I am done being poor. Caleb nodded slowly. Then he slid the envelope back toward himself. And tucked it into his jacket again. Naomi's eyes widened. Hey. She snapped. What is in there? Caleb turned toward the door. Something you no longer get to know first. He said. Naomi stepped forward. Caleb, do not play games. She said. I signed nothing today to watch you suddenly become mysterious. Caleb paused with his hand on the door handle. He looked back at her once. You already filed me away as nothing. He said. So you do not get access to what nothing becomes. He opened the door and stepped outside, leaving Naomi standing in the living room staring at the space where the envelope had been. In his car, Caleb finally let his breath shake. He gripped the steering wheel and stared ahead. He was not going to beg. He was not going to chase. He was not going to prove his worth to someone who measured love by income. He started the engine and drove toward the only person he trusted to handle this quietly. A lawyer recommended by the office that issued the check. A lawyer who specialized in protecting winners from the people closest to them. Behind him, Naomi's phone buzzed with a text from Carter. "I am 10 minutes away." And inside the house, Naomi stood frozen, realizing for the first time that Caleb had walked out not like a broke man being abandoned, but like a man holding something powerful enough to keep hidden. Caleb drove with the envelope locked against his ribs like it was a second heart. His mind kept replaying Naomi's hesitation. Not long. Just enough. The kind of pause that tells the truth louder than any confession. He reached the law office just before 5:30. A quiet building with tinted windows and no sign on the door. The kind of place people go when they need problems handled without noise. A woman named Simone Avery met him in the lobby. Late 40s. Sharp eyes. Calm voice. The kind of calm that comes from winning hard cases. "Mr. Harris," she said. "You called about a lottery disbursement and an urgent domestic situation." Caleb nodded. "I won," he said. "And my wife served me divorce papers an hour later. She does not know about the check. And I do not want her to know until I understand what she really is." Simone did not flinch. She gestured toward a private room. "Let us start with protection. Then we can talk about justice," she said. Caleb sat across from her and finally opened the envelope. He slid the check across the table. Simone read it once. Then again. Then looked up with measured respect. "This is life-changing," she said. "And life-changing is exactly when people become unpredictable." Caleb swallowed. "She already is," he said. Simone asked for details. Caleb told her everything. The suitcases. Carter Winslow. The way Naomi spoke on the phone like she had already rewritten history. Simone listened and took notes. Then she leaned back. "You did the right thing not revealing the check," she said. "If she left you believing you were broke, then any attempt to return after learning the truth will be motivated by money, not love. That distinction is valuable in court and even more valuable in your own mind." Caleb nodded slowly. "So what do I do now?" he asked. Simone placed 2 folders on the table. "First, we lock down your claim and your privacy. Second, we lock down your exposure to her and anyone connected to her. Third, we make sure your signature on those papers does not become a weapon against you." Caleb's stomach tightened. "A weapon," he repeated. Simone nodded. If she filed first and alleged abandonment or misconduct, she could shape the narrative. Not necessarily to take your winnings if they are separate property depending on timing in state law. But to pressure you. To shame you. To force a settlement just to make it end. People do that. Caleb's jaw clenched. "I just want peace," he said. Simone's voice stayed steady. "Peace requires structure," she said. "Here is what we do. We file a response immediately. We request an emergency order preventing harassment and limiting financial interference. We notify the Lottery Commission to place the funds into a blind trust. We create a firewall between you and Naomi. And we hire security. Not bodyguards on every corner. Discreet professionals who keep you alive when the world learns there is money." Caleb exhaled slowly. "Alive," he repeated. "Like it is that serious." Simone held his gaze. "It can be," she said. "The first threat to sudden wealth is not strangers. It is proximity. The people who think your money fixes their life. Or the people who think your money should have been theirs. Caleb looked away and nodded. He thought about Naomi's voice on the phone. He signed. No, he did not argue. It was easier than I expected. He realized she did not sound heartbroken. She sounded successful. Simone slid him a pen. Sign these. She said. Limited power of attorney for emergency matters. Confidentiality agreements. A request to the commission. And a letter to your bank. Caleb signed. Line after line. His signature felt different this time. Not surrender. Protection. When he finished, Simone stood. I will have my team work through the night. She said. Where will you be staying tonight? Caleb hesitated. Not the house. He said. Not while she is packing. Not while Carter is coming. Simone nodded as if she expected that. I have a secure suite for clients in transition. She said. It is quiet and monitored. No one will know you are there. Caleb's throat tightened. He nodded once. Thank you. He said. Simone did not smile. Not because she lacked warmth. Because she took danger seriously. You are welcome. She replied. Now do not go back there alone. Caleb left the office through a back exit. A man in a plain jacket waited by a dark SUV. Tall. Calm. Professional. Name is Ray. The man said. Ms. Avery asked me to take you to the suite. Caleb slid into the back seat. His phone buzzed immediately. Naomi. Where did you go? What was in that envelope? Carter is here and you are acting crazy. Caleb stared at the screen. His chest rising and falling. He did not answer. Another message came. If you are trying to scare me, it will not work. Sign the papers means you are done. Do not start drama now. Caleb locked the phone and leaned back. He watched the city blur past. The same streets he walked broke. The same corners where he counted coins for gas. Now everything looked normal while his life was splitting open. At the house, Naomi opened the door to Carter Winslow. Carter stepped inside wearing a fitted jacket and a confident smile. He carried himself like a man used to being believed. Naomi. He said. You ready? Naomi forced a smile. Caleb left. She said. And he is hiding something. Carter lifted an eyebrow. Hiding what? Naomi shook her head. I do not know. An envelope. He acted like he suddenly had leverage. Like he suddenly mattered. Carter smirked. He always wanted to matter. He said. That is why he married you. To borrow your shine. Naomi's eyes flashed. Do not talk about him like that. She said. Only I get to talk about him like that. Carter laughed softly and pulled her close. Forget him. He said. Tonight is about you and your new life. Naomi looked toward the coffee table where the divorce folder sat closed. Her fingers tightened around her phone. She had expected Caleb to beg. To cry. To plead. She had expected power. Instead he left with calm. And that calm scared her more than anger. She texted him again. Caleb, answer me. What was in the envelope? If it is money, we can talk. She stared at the words after she sent them. If it is money, we can talk. The sentence felt ugly. But it felt necessary. Across town, Caleb sat in a secure suite staring at the ceiling. The room smelled like clean sheets and quiet. A kind of quiet that felt unfamiliar. He looked at Naomi's last message and felt something settle inside him. She had already answered his question. If the envelope contains nothing, would you still be leaving? Yes, because I am done being poor. Now she was asking to talk if it was money. Caleb turned his phone face down. He walked to the window. City lights flickered. Cars moved. People laughed. Somewhere Naomi was probably celebrating. He whispered to himself. Not anymore. The next morning Simone called him early. Her voice precise. We filed last night. She said. The commission has placed your winnings into a blind trust pending final transfer. Your bank accounts are secured. And we have a court date set for temporary orders. Caleb swallowed. That fast? He said. Simone replied. Money moves fast. So must you. Then she added. And there is something else. We ran a background check on Carter Winslow. Caleb's stomach tightened. What did you find? He asked. Simone's voice hardened slightly. Carter is not rich. She said. He is a middleman. A borrower. A man with debt. 2 lawsuits. And a talent for attaching himself to women right before they come into something valuable. Caleb felt the air leave his lungs. So Naomi thinks he is her upgrade. He said. But he is using her. Simone replied. Most likely. And if he suspects you have money he will come looking. Not for Naomi. For you. Caleb stared out at the city. Now the story had a new edge. Naomi leaving him was one thing. But Naomi bringing a predator into his life was another. Simone spoke again. Today you do not contact her. You do not confront him. You let the legal system create distance. And you let security create safety. Understood. Caleb nodded even though she could not see it. Understood. He said. He ended the call and sat down. His hands steady now. Not because he was fearless. Because he finally had a plan. Outside the suite a quiet knock came. Ray. Your car is ready. He said. Ms. Avery wants to see you in an hour. Caleb grabbed his jacket. Felt the absence of the check now. It was no longer in his pocket. It was in a vault. Protected. Like his future. As he walked out he realized something. Naomi thought she was escaping poverty. But she had walked straight into the part of the story where consequences begin. Caleb arrived at Simone Avery's office just after 9 in the morning with the city still waking up around him, and for the first time he felt like he was walking into the future instead of chasing it. The conference room was already prepared. Folders stacked. Screens lit. Coffee untouched. Simone stood near the window reading something on a tablet, and when she looked up her expression told Caleb this day was not going to be quiet. We need to talk about Naomi. She said. And we need to talk about Carter Winslow. Caleb sat down slowly. I had a feeling. He said. Simone tapped the tablet and a file appeared on the screen. Carter Winslow is not just a parasite. She said. He is a pattern. She scrolled and the screen filled with names and dates and settlements. Women who thought they were upgrading. Women who left stable lives chasing perceived wealth. Women who later found themselves drained, embarrassed and alone. Caleb felt a knot form in his chest. So Naomi thinks she won. He said. But she is walking into a trap. Simone nodded. Yes. And here is the part that concerns me. Carter has a history of probing ex-partners when he suspects money is involved. He does not confront directly. He circles. Through messages. Through mutual acquaintances. Through pressure. Caleb thought of Naomi's text. If it is money we can talk. She already opened the door. He said quietly. Simone leaned forward. Which is why today we take control of the narrative. She said. Not publicly. Privately. She slid another folder across the table. Inside were documents labeled temporary orders and financial separation. This prevents her from claiming anything tied to future income. Simone explained. And it restricts third parties from contacting you under the guise of reconciliation or mediation. Caleb nodded. Sign whatever you need, he said. As he signed, Simone watched him carefully. You are handling this with restraint, she said. Most people would want to hurt back. Caleb shook his head. I do not want revenge, he said. I want distance. Simone gave a small approving nod. Distance is power, she said. Caleb's phone buzzed. Unknown number. He looked at Simone. She nodded once. Caleb answered. Hello. Carter's voice came through smooth and casual. Caleb, he said. This is Carter. Caleb closed his eyes briefly. So this is how it starts, he thought. What do you want? Caleb asked calmly. Carter laughed lightly. Relax, he said. I just wanted to clear the air. No bad blood. You and Naomi are adults. Caleb could almost hear the smile. What air? Caleb asked. Carter continued. She is pretty shaken. You disappearing like that. Talking about lawyers. It is unnecessary. Caleb looked at Simone. She was already recording. What is unnecessary? Caleb said. Carter lowered his voice. You do not want to make this ugly, he said. People get emotional. Stories get told. Caleb felt a spark of anger but kept his tone flat. If you are calling on Naomi's behalf, he said, you should talk to her lawyer. Carter paused. Just a pause. Enough to reveal surprise. Lawyer, he repeated. Caleb replied. Yes. And for the record, you are not to contact me again. Carter chuckled. You think you have leverage, he said. I have seen men like you suddenly feel important. Caleb leaned back. His voice steady. You are speaking to me right now because you think I have something, he said. And that is exactly why this call ends here. He hung up. Simone smiled thinly. Good, she said. He just confirmed intent. Caleb exhaled. That felt different, he said. Standing up without shouting. Simone replied. That is what scares people like him. By noon Naomi arrived at the courthouse with Carter at her side. She wore a confident outfit. Her posture straight. Her chin high. She believed she was winning. When the clerk informed her that Caleb had already filed a response and requested temporary orders, her smile faltered. What does that mean? She asked sharply. The clerk explained patiently. No contact orders. Financial separation. A hearing scheduled. Naomi's fingers tightened around her purse. He is doing this to punish me, she said. Carter leaned in. It is fine, he whispered. He is bluffing. But Naomi was not convinced. She remembered the calm in Caleb's eyes when he walked out. Not defeated. Not angry. Resolved. Back at the office, Simone showed Caleb the court confirmation. She filed first. But you responded faster, Simone said. That matters. Caleb nodded. I never thought I would be relieved to move quickly in my life, he said. Simone allowed herself a small smile. That afternoon Caleb met with a financial security team. Men and women who spoke softly about risk and patterns. They discussed anonymity, relocation options, asset layering. Caleb listened. But his mind kept drifting to Naomi. To the years they spent believing struggle was shared. He did not hate her. He understood her fear. But he no longer accepted her choices. That evening Naomi finally called him directly. Her voice sharper than before. "Why did you involve lawyers?" she demanded. "You are making me look bad." Caleb answered calmly. "I did not involve lawyers to make you look bad," he said. "I involved them to protect myself." "Protect yourself from what?" Naomi snapped. "From me." Caleb paused. "From what you became when you thought I had nothing," he said. There was silence. Then Naomi's voice softened artificially. "Caleb," she said. "Let us talk. We do not need strangers deciding our lives." Caleb replied. "You already decided. When you packed your bags. When you brought another man into our home. When you asked if we could talk only if there was money." Naomi's breath caught. "That is not fair," she said. Caleb's voice stayed level. "Fair is not the standard anymore," he said. "Safety and truth are." Naomi's voice shook now. "You are acting like you do not care." Caleb answered honestly. "I care. But not in the way that lets you hurt me again." He ended the call. Naomi stared at her phone. The power dynamic shifting beneath her feet. Carter watched her from the couch. "Something wrong?" he asked. Naomi did not answer immediately. She replayed the conversation. The way Caleb did not argue. Did not plead. Did not ask her to stay. He sounded like a man who had already moved on. And that terrified her. That night Naomi searched Caleb's name online. Again. And again. Nothing. No announcements. No articles. No evidence of wealth. But something felt wrong. Too controlled. Too quiet. Across town Caleb sat in a secure suite looking at the city lights again. Ray stood nearby pretending to check his phone. "You did good today," Ray said. Caleb nodded. "I am tired," he said. Ray replied. "That is normal. Your life is shedding weight." Caleb thought about that. Shedding weight. He felt lighter. But not empty. He picked up his phone and typed a message to Simone. "Thank you for today. I am ready for whatever comes next." She replied moments later. "Good. Because tomorrow Naomi learns something important. Not about your money. About her assumptions." Caleb set the phone down and lay back on the bed. The future no longer felt like a threat. It felt like a controlled burn. Clearing space. Somewhere across the city Naomi lay awake realizing that the man she dismissed as poor had left her not with anger, but with silence. And silence was far harder to fight. Morning came heavy and bright and Naomi woke up with the uneasy feeling that something had already happened without her permission. Carter was still asleep beside her breathing evenly confident in a way that now irritated her. She slipped out of bed quietly and checked her phone. No messages from Caleb. No missed calls. Just a notification from her lawyer. Temporary orders issued. No contact. Financial separation confirmed. Naomi sat on the edge of the bed reading the words again and again. Her stomach dropped. This was not how it was supposed to go. Caleb was supposed to be scrambling. Confused. Begging. He was not supposed to be organized. She went into the kitchen and poured coffee with shaking hands. Carter eventually joined her adjusting his watch. "You look tense," he said casually. Naomi handed him the phone. "Read this." Carter skimmed the message. His expression changed subtly. Not panic. Calculation. He lawyered up fast. Carter said. Interesting. Naomi snapped. What do you mean interesting? This is a problem. Carter shrugged. It means he is hiding something. Men do not move like this unless they feel powerful. Naomi felt a chill. That envelope again. The way Caleb asked that question. If it contains nothing, would you still be leaving? Her answer echoed back at her. Yes, because I am done being poor. Naomi's chest tightened. Later that morning, Simone Avery walked Caleb through the next phase. Not dramatic. Methodical. Today your wife receives financial disclosures. Simone said. Not about the lottery. About your debts being cleared. Your account stabilized. Your sudden ability to move freely. Caleb frowned. Why does that matter? Because she believes your value was tied to struggle. Simone replied. When she sees the struggle disappear without explanation, it will unbalance her. People reveal themselves when their narrative cracks. Caleb nodded slowly. He trusted Simone. She never moved without purpose. By noon, Naomi sat across from her own attorney in a glass office downtown. The man spoke carefully, choosing words that landed like stones. Your husband has no outstanding debt. He said. His credit was repaired last week. Large deposits were made into escrow accounts. Naomi leaned forward. Deposits. What deposits? The attorney shook his head. I do not have access to the source. But this changes the posture of the divorce. Naomi's mouth went dry. That is not possible. She said. He barely made rent. The attorney looked at her steadily. That is not what the records show. Naomi left the office in a daze. The city noise felt distant. Muted. She called Caleb again. Straight to voicemail. She texted. What is going on? Why is your money suddenly clean? You owe me an explanation. No reply. Across town, Caleb sat calmly signing documents. Each signature separating his future further from Naomi's reach. Ray stood nearby watching the hallway. Security had been increased quietly. Simone finished reviewing the last page. Good. She said. Now we wait. Caleb exhaled. Wait for what? Simone's eyes were sharp. For Naomi to do what people always do when they feel power slipping. She said. She will push. That evening Naomi showed up at the old house unannounced. The suitcases were gone. The rooms empty. She stood in the living room feeling the absence. Caleb's boots. Gone. His tools. Gone. Only the framed wedding photo remained on the shelf. She picked it up and stared at their smiles. Her phone buzzed. Carter. Did you talk to him? He asked. Naomi swallowed. No. She said. He is avoiding me. Carter's tone hardened slightly. Then he has something worth protecting. Naomi felt fear bloom. What if she had made a mistake? Not leaving. But leaving too soon. That night she drove past Simone Avery's building. She did not go in. Just watched. Across the street Caleb exited with Ray. He wore a clean jacket. Walked with purpose. Not rushed. Not lost. Naomi froze behind the wheel. That is not how a broke man walks. She whispered. Her phone buzzed again. A message from an unknown number. Stop contacting Caleb Harris. All communication must go through legal counsel. Naomi stared at the screen. Her heart pounding. For the first time since handing him the papers she felt something she had not expected. Uncertainty. Back at the suite Caleb stood by the window watching rain streak down the glass. He did not feel triumph. He felt resolve. Simone's voice echoed in his head. People show you who they are when they think you have nothing. Believe them. Naomi had believed he was nothing. Now she was learning what that belief cost. Naomi did not sleep that night. She lay staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment of the last 48 hours. Caleb's calm. The envelope. The way he walked out without looking back. She realized something that made her chest tighten. He had not been shocked by the divorce. He had been prepared. That morning Carter noticed the change in her. You are distracted, he said. You keep looking at your phone. Naomi snapped back. Because something is wrong, she said. Caleb is not who I thought he was. Carter frowned. What do you mean? Naomi shook her head. I do not know yet. But he is not broke. Not anymore. And he never begged. That scares me. Carter laughed dismissively. Men pretend strength when they lose, he said. It is an ego thing. But Naomi was no longer convinced. She remembered the way Caleb asked that question. If the envelope contains nothing, would you still be leaving? She had answered without hesitation. And now that answer felt like a confession. By noon Simone Avery called Caleb into her office. The tone of her voice calm but final. Your wife has been making inquiries, Simone said. Not directly. Through third parties. She is trying to locate the source of your financial change. Caleb nodded. Expected. Simone slid one last document across the table. This is the final settlement proposal, she said. She gets exactly what she believed you were worth when she left. Nothing more. Nothing less. Caleb read it slowly. No claims. No amendments. No future contact. He signed. Simone leaned back. Once this is filed, she said, she will know. Not about the amount, but about the mistake. Caleb felt a strange heaviness lift from his chest. He did not feel victorious. He felt finished. That afternoon Naomi finally received the notice. Divorce finalized. No further claims. She read it standing in Carter's kitchen. Her hands trembling. That is it, she whispered. He did not fight. He did not negotiate. Carter tried to mask his irritation. Then he is done, he said. So should you be. But Naomi felt panic now. Not loss of Caleb. Loss of certainty. She drove to the old neighborhood again. Parked across the street. Watched the house. A moving truck was there. Men carrying furniture out. Not her furniture. Caleb's. She watched as Caleb supervised calmly. Dressed well. Speaking confidently. A different man. She stepped out of the car without thinking. Caleb. She called. He turned slowly. Saw her. And did not smile. Naomi walked closer. Her voice softer now. We need to talk, she said. Caleb met her eyes. We already did, he replied. Her voice cracked. I did not know, she said. I thought you had nothing. Caleb nodded once. That was enough for you to leave. Naomi swallowed. What was in the envelope? She asked. Caleb did not answer immediately. Then he said. It was the proof that you only loved me when you thought I needed you. Her eyes filled. You could have told me. Caleb shook his head. I asked you without opening it, he said. And you answered. Silence stretched. Naomi whispered. I made a mistake. Caleb's voice stayed gentle but firm. No, he said. You made a choice. The movers closed the truck. Caleb stepped back. "Take care of yourself, Naomi," he said. "But do not look for me anymore." He turned and walked away. No anger. No lecture. No revenge. Just dignity. Naomi stood alone watching the truck pull away. Carter called her name from across the street. But she barely heard him. Weeks later the city buzzed quietly with news of a new anonymous trust acquiring properties and funding projects. No name. No face. Caleb moved into a new home. Simple. Bright. Peaceful. He drank coffee in the morning without tension. He slept through the night. He breathed without apology. $500 million did not make him powerful. It gave him options. And the most important option was walking away from someone who only saw his worth when she thought he could give her more. The story did not end with revenge. It ended with clarity. And that, for Caleb, was the real wealth.